Me Too campaign and what does it mean to you?
To be honest, I don't know much about it specifically, but I know that it has to do with sexual assault. And it doesn't really apply to me directly, but I know it's important because it is prevalent here on a college campus.
The Me Too campaign is a social movement that helps bring awareness about sexual assault and sexual harassment, like in the workplace and stuff. I think it's an important movement. I think it does a decent amount of good. I do think there's several problems they could work towards. I know somebody that's been sexually assaulted, so I don't say I understand what they're going through, but at least I have a reference point.
I honestly don't really know that much about the Me Too campaign, but I've known people on this very campus that have witnessed or been victims of sexual assault, and I think that there needs to be more knowledge of resources about sexual assault here on campus, so I think the Me Too movement is a good way to get those resources more advocated on this campus.
The Me Too campaign was a movement that happened last year. It was about sexual assault, and I primarily saw it on Twitter, where a lot of famous people would be tweeting about, like, if they were sexually assaulted and their experiences, but I found out that it was actually a movement that began in underprivileged communities that then got picked up by, like, white famous people, and then the underprivileged communities were kind of got, like, pushed to the side.
These interviews were taken of college students on UNC Chapel Hill's campus. As you can see, many of the students are aware of what the Me Too campaign has evolved into, but very few of them know the true origins and purpose of this campaign. This documentary will analyze this movement and how it originated in 2006 to what it has become in 2018, along with highlighting how powerful of a tool it has been in breaking the silence for so many victims of sexual assault. 12 years ago, a woman named Tarana Burke coined the term Me Too. Tarana Burke is an activist and has spent the last 25 years helping young people in underprivileged communities all around the country. Tarana was working at a youth camp in Alabama, where a young 13-year-old tried to come forward about her experience with sexual assault, but Tarana was not emotionally prepared to hear this little girl's story and turned her away. Burke was also a survivor, and after this experience realized the biggest aid in coping was the empathy she received from other survivors. This is when she decided a term as simple as Me Too could aid in helping survivors, especially in marginalized communities who lack the resources and support they need. In 2006, she used this term to set up programs in communities specifically helping people of color stand up against sexual assault. An article by Rosal Chan from Northwestern discusses the importance of taking an intersectional approach when understanding a survivor's experience. Chan explains this when she says, multiple identities affect each individual's experience. Discrimination against certain identities such as race, gender, class, ethnicity, and sexuality converge, which can intensify oppression. This exemplifies why Tarana chose to provide support to lower-class people of color, because she knew that they share a different experience with assault because of other aspects of oppression. Burke mainly did her work in the dark because she did not want to out people who had suffered from these traumatic experiences. At her Me Too workshops, she educated the youth about assault. Here she made everyone fill out a worksheet where at the bottom they would just have to write Me Too if they had experienced any form of sexual abuse. She understood how difficult it was to come forward about these types of experiences, but just the words Me Too at the bottom of these students' worksheets could help her provide the right resources to people in need. At one of her very first workshops for high school girls in Tuskegee, Alabama, 20 of the 30 girls in the room had written Me Too on the bottom of their paper. Here, Burke realized the necessity of her work in these communities and continued her efforts building programs all around the country for years. Finally, one random morning in 2017, Tarana Burke woke up to see her simple but powerful phrase dominating all of social media. On October 5th, 2017, New York Times publishes a story about actress Ashley Judd coming forward with sexual harassment report about Harvey Weinstein. This article included several other allegations about harassment and inappropriate behavior with employees performed by Mr. Weinstein. Shortly after this article blew up, actress Alyssa Milano tweets about her own experience with sexual harassment on October 15, 2017. She finished her tweet asking other women to come forward with their experiences with assault by simply tweeting the hashtag Me Too. Immediately, this hashtag became a movement, and women all across the country were coming forward for the first time about their experiences with sexual assault. On the 1-year anniversary of Alyssa Milano starting the viral social media movement, she posted a video to her Twitter explaining what gave her the strength to come forward.
Women everywhere are sharing their stories of sexual harassment and assault, and they're saying phrases like "Me Too" and "Time's Up," and I don't expect you to understand this obviously right now because you're a baby, but when you get older and you watch this video, I wanted you to know that one night when I was lying in bed with you, I looked down at you and your sweet, beautiful face, and I got really scared. I got scared for you, and I sent out a tweet asking for women to stand in solidarity. And a lot of people replied. So, in a way, I wanted to make this video for you because, in a way, all of this is because of you. Because you give women the strength. And it's an important time. It feels important.
Not only did her daughter give her the strength to come forward, but the successful woman coming forward on such a high platform in front of the whole country gave many other women the strength to share their stories. Over the next year, there would be heavy allegations against several men who abused their power, such as actors, talk show hosts, producers, politicians, and more, including the reveal of one of the biggest sexual assault scandals in U.S. history, when the Olympic gymnastics team doctor Larry Nassar was accused of sexually assaulting over 100 of his young patients. He was abusing these children for nearly 2 decades without assault claims, because he manipulated the patients into thinking it was a necessary form of medical treatment. Finally empowered by the movement, these young girls found the strength to come forward, landing Dr. Nassar the rest of his life in prison. This movement was getting recognition across the entire country and support from many huge industries. For example, on December 6, 2017, Time magazine names 2017 Times Person of the Year the Silence Breakers, naming those who launched the movement standing up against sexual assault. This movement allowed women to find strength they had never had before, and for perpetrators to finally face the repercussions of their actions that had for so long been ignored. But while it was incredible that victims were finding their voice and coming forward, it was explained earlier by Rosal Chan that not all sexual assault victims share the same experience. Most of the women coming forward in the Me Too movement were successful, white, upper-class people. So what does that mean for all of the hard work Toronto was accomplishing with communities involving lower-class people of color?
What's happening as if Me Too is suddenly successful. That's not true. The work that we've done in Me Too has been successful for 10 years, for 12 years actually. But it's about how you define success. And there's a way that people bring this to me that always diminishes the history of it when they think they're actually trying to give accolades. My work is successful. I have hundreds of children, hundreds of adults, of people's lives who have been touched by the work that we've put forward in Me Too, and that's what success means to me. So I never had like a, oh boy, now we made it kind of moment, because this could have never happened and I would still be out here speaking at conferences and workshops and wherever people would let me do, and I would be fine, and we would be successful.
When analyzing a movement such as Me Too, it is incredible to see how many lives it is impacting. But it is also necessary to look at exactly who it is impacting. As heard earlier, many students knew the Me Too movement that went viral in 2017, but hardly any of them knew about the Me Too movement that existed for 11 years before that, started by people of color. Therefore, the purpose of this documentary is to bring attention to how powerful this movement has been for survivors, but to also shed light on the fact that these movements need to include a variety of intersections. While all of these upper-class white survivors of assault were finding their voices, the voices of lower-class people of color were potentially being silenced.